Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another PlayStation review. Today's review I take a look at The Quarry on PlayStation 5. Now The Quarry is brought to us by Supermassive Games, and I have to say I am a big fan generally of the Supermassive games. I have played Until Dawn, really enjoyed that. I have reviewed that on the channel. I have reviewed the first two of the anthology games that they did at Man of Medan and Little Hope. I have downloaded the third one because that's in the sale currently, so I have every intention of playing and reviewing that for you guys very shortly. So I've really been looking forward to playing The Quarry. However, with this being really nothing more than essentially an interactive movie, I didn't really want to pay full price for this game, so I always intended on waiting for the first sale, and it is currently on sale on the PlayStation Store. So I paid certainly less than full price anyway. Now, The Quarry is essentially the sequel to Until Dawn. And for those of you who don't really know, The Quarry essentially is, as I've mentioned, it's like an interactive movie really, with some really high production values, and it focuses on a group of teens who are camp counselors at this summer camp at this place, The Quarry. The kids have just left and gone home, and they essentially get stranded for one last night. They decide to have this great big party. However, there are some sinister goings on, and it is then down to you in control of these teens to try and get as many of them through the night and alive to the next morning. Right, The Quarry then. What are my thoughts on this? Well, essentially this is exactly what you would expect. If you've played Until Dawn, you've essentially played The Quarry. If you've played the anthology games they've done, Man of Medan and Little Hope and House of Ashes, you've played The Quarry. It is exactly the same setup. It's just, whereas the anthology ones, the Man of Medan, etc., are shorter games, this is a full-length game that will take you, give or take, between 8 and 10 hours to complete, sort of thing. Now, obviously, the real selling point here is the replayability factor, because there is a lot of choice in this game. Now, the game is structured, basically. You essentially sit and watch it like a movie for the most part. You are given dialogue options to choose that can change the direction of your character. You could choose to answer in a sympathetic way or be sarcastic or arrogant, so on and so forth. And some of those decisions will affect the outcome of that character and the game in general. So it's just essentially down to you what choices you make when you're playing the game. There's other things as well, other interactions that you will have in the game. There's like quite a few quick time events that appear during the game, and you've got to hit the right button at the right time to navigate your character through certain situations. Some of them will determine whether they make it through a scene alive. Some of them will be less important. There will be other sequences where you've got to hold your breath, which is very similar to what you saw in Until Dawn, certainly. As you might be hiding in a certain spot and you're being stalked by something or someone, and you've got to hold your breath for a certain amount of time. And then let go when you are safe, and you'll make it through the scene in one piece, so to speak. So there's things that you could do while you're playing this game that will help you interact and choose the path for your characters in the game. So the replayability factor here is the first time you play through this game, you might kill the majority of the cast, and you want to do better the second time round, so you'll play it again. You can make different choices and see who you can keep alive throughout the game. Very similar to the other games as well, you will get hints and tips along the way. There's certain clues that you'll be able to find, but there's also like tarot cards hidden amongst the scenes that you're walking through that you can find. And there's like these intermissions at the end of each chapter where you get like this woman talking to you and then giving you the option of kind of having a sneak peek at one of the tarot cards that will give you a hint as to what potentially could happen in an upcoming scene. To be honest, I didn't find them useful at all. You can also customize the game before you go in a sense of you can choose whether you want your quick time events to be easier or harder, so on and so forth, so that it'll make it a little bit easier for you to navigate your way through the game if you want to make it a little bit simpler. There are a few modes for you to choose from as well. It's worth mentioning, once you complete it the first time around the game, there's like a death rewind option that is given to you that allows you to, next time you play it, to, if you end up killing a character, you can kind of rewind it a few seconds to see if you can change the outcome of their deaths. There's a movie mode that you can go into and try, which essentially is exactly what it sounds like. It's a movie mode. You can watch it rather than play it, but you can fully customize it. You can either choose whether everyone lives, you can choose whether everyone dies, or you can just customize each character and choose how they will react to certain situations, and then just sit back and enjoy the movie. There is a wolf pack mode, which really it's like an online mode, so you can kind of play it with your friends, and there's a couch co-op mode as well, which essentially means you just hand the controller around to your friends who you want to play with in the room. So it is really dependent on you in regards to what kind of gamer are you. Do you like these interactive movies? Do you like the Telltale games? Do you like the Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain type games? Did you enjoy Until Dawn? Did you enjoy Men of Medan and Little Hope, so on and so forth? If you do enjoy all those sort of games, then you are going to enjoy this. Personally, I'm not sure I enjoyed this just as much as Until Dawn. It took a little bit longer to get going for me, the story here. There was numerous times playing it when I was kind of like, okay, I want things to start happening now. I want this to move a little bit faster. But it's almost like watching a horror movie that should be an hour and a half, but it's 3 hours long instead. So you're kind of twiddling your fingers and thumbs here and there. So it does feel like they've kind of stretched it out a little bit long here, and I think maybe they could have trimmed it down a couple of hours and made it, pop a bit faster, the story and the scares. Not that I found it particularly scary. Now, I don't generally play horror games because I don't like being scared in games. I love horror movies, but I don't like horror games, so to speak, which is a bit odd, I know, but that's just me. But I really enjoyed Until Dawn, but I found that to be a little bit more effective scare-wise than this game. There are a couple of jump scares here and there. There are a couple of moments in the game where, it can get a little bit tense, but I never found the game traditionally scary, I suppose. One thing I did find as well, I found the game to be too dark. There's so many sequences where you're walking around dark woods, dark rooms, and there's just no light. Now, while that might be realistic and atmospheric to some degree, I found it a bit challenging, and to the point where I was going into the options settings and turning up the brightness as much as I could on the game, just so that I could literally see where I was going sometimes, because it was too difficult. And there's a couple of times in the game as well, I'm not sure the humour just worked as well. But that's me being maybe a little bit overly critical. So what I would say is, if you're a fan of the Supermassive games, you're not going to be disappointed here. It is top quality stuff. The voice acting, the motion capture, the graphics are all really on point. Didn't have any issue with that at all. And it is a really, really good and enjoyable game. And there's a lot of replayability factor. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy my time with it. It is really good quality stuff, just maybe not up to the quality of Until Dawn, certainly in my opinion anyway. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.